Good cutting enhances the quality of good meat. Poor cutting results in an inferior piece of meat, regardless of quality.
While you're looking at that, I'll just get this out of the way. Welcome to the Meat Block Podcast. This is Travis, American Butcher, and this time I am joined live during the intro by David. David is here. By here, I mean figuratively. He is reading, and he is in the great state of California, and I am in Washington, and we're going to be doing a Q&A. So we got sent some lovely questions, and then I just found generic questions online. David, how are you?
I'm well.
Riveting.
I'm good. I'm pretty good. Winter came back again.
I know, it's weird.
It is weird.
I launched the dock yesterday, and we're going to get it all anchored up, and we made an anchor out of a 50-gallon drum and filling it with cement. And it was a little too rough today to set the dock. Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, no kidding. Mm-hmm. We're getting snow all around me up in the mountains, and it's cold as hell. My furnace isn't working.
Still?
Yeah, I don't know. The furnace guy comes and he looks at it and he's like, dude, I don't know, man. It's working perfectly. You don't know what you're talking about.
Do you say, have you noticed how cold it is in here?
No. I don't even think he gets out of the van. I think he just drives up next to the door to my crawl space and shines his flashlight in there from the driver's seat and then drives off.
I'd be willing to bet that he is in your crawl space right now.
That explains the noises.
Yeah.
That I hear down there all the time.
All right. Did you find them questions, David?
Not really.
Oh.
I don't think anybody really contributed any.
Oh, no.
Unless I'm missing them.
No, I don't think anyone did. I think these are all a bunch of joke questions.
Yeah, I think I'm not good at scrolling. Apparently, this is not my strong suit.
Milo, you need to back the fuck off.
Nope. I'm not seeing much here.
Okay.
I wish I watched the news so we could talk about collusion and things like that, but I don't watch the news.
Well, I do watch the news, David, and I listen to several news podcasts, and I could tell you that there is no evidence of collusion before the election. So with that wording, obviously, our president's a saint and never done anything wrong.
Well, he's the president.
Mm-hmm. How can he? My dog is barking, I think, at his reflection in the sliding glass door. Or unless he's staring at some psycho who I can't see because of the light reflecting, because it's dark outside and I have lights. So hopefully someone's not sneaking up to my house. Ah! Oh, man. Can you guys just back off? Jesus.
What's the new dog's name?
Max.
Max.
Just go upstairs, both of you guys. Go. Stop looking at me. All right. Milo left. He's actually the loud one. Well, this episode's off to a great start. Did you get that link I sent you?
Yeah, what was that?
It was frequently asked questions in the meat industry.
Interesting. Okay.
Click it and let's see if we know any of these. Here's one. What is the best way to preserve meat?
I'm going to go canning.
Canning? I'm going to say formaldehyde.
Yeah.
They never for eating purposes or not. And now, how would you can for a layman? Let's say I have no experience and a limited budget, and I want to preserve some meat, and I don't want to kill myself with botulism. Or so, how would a layman do some canning?
Well, you have to have a pressure canner first. So that's it's a stock pot that has a lid that has clamps and holds a great deal of pressure inside. And then depending on if it's one of these new ones, like the Instapots that have a digital thermometer and pressure meter controls and whatnot, I think those things are pretty awesome because you can kind of set them and forget them. The ones that I've always used are just that kind of analog ones. And what it is it's got like a little pressure relief valve on the top. It just lets out a little bit, and when the pressure builds, you've got this little thing that sits on top of it, and it shakes it. And depending on how quickly this thing rattles, you know that it's done, that it's time to take it off.
Yeah, and then that. And then what about the cooling process to ensure, how would you recommend to ensure food safety?
Well, I guess I better start at the beginning. So if I'm going to can meat, this is how the old timers do it. Cut it up. When we cut can or beef, cut it into like 1.5 inch cubes ish, maybe like 2-inch cubes. Some people like bigger pieces, and then you put them in like a cast iron skillet or something and just sear it on all sides. I think I always cut the fat off for this. I don't really preserve like a fat gap or anything like that.
Is that anything because of rancidity or just your personal preference? Are you? Do you believe fat is bad for you because you live in the 1950s?
No. I'm disgusting. I eat just tons of fat.
You should see a tender.
No, I think. I think probably just because it starts to render and probably clouds up the water in there, and I don't know. I just don't think it would be as useful after you canned it as it would be if you just cut it off and froze it. So anyways, you got some canning jars with brand new lids and seals. You don't want to reuse those from last time. So you take the meat that you just browned and you put them into your clean jars. I think a wide mouth quart jar is the best, or you could do like a 2-quart jar if you've got a really big pressure canner.
And these are a mason jar with the separated lid and twist thing, and right?
Yeah, exactly. Like a Ball brand. What's the other one? I think Ball is the big one, and yeah, it comes with like a ring and then like a seal lid and then the glass jar. And so you add a little bit of salt. I think like teaspoon or 2 per jar, and then you pour water. I've heard of people using stock for this, but I've just poured water into that cast iron skillet you were just using, bring it up to a boil, and then kind of like scrape the bottom so you get all that fond off so you can get that into your jars, and then just ladle the water into the jars. And you want to leave like 1 inch of what they call head space on top. If anybody's canned before, it's a space between the liquid and the product and then where the lid will be. So you leave the 1 inch of the headspace. Then you want to take like a dry towel or a chamois or something and wipe the rim on the inside and the outside, and then put the lids and the rings on. And I think it's like 90 minutes for a quart, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to use 10 pounds of pressure, unless you're in Denver or something like 1,000 or more feet above sea level. In that case, you can use 15 pounds of pressure.
Okay.
And then you lock the top on and you let it go for 90 minutes under 15 pounds of pressure. And when that's done, you let it cool just in the canner.
Okay.
And then you let the steam off and you remove it, and then just cools the rest of the way. And you want to make sure that that thing sucks down. You want to see some vacuum there, and
turkey's done. Yep.
My grandma used to she'd take the rings off of her cans after they sealed.
Oh,
because it's like that much vacuum, So I don't know. It's not my favorite thing to do. It's a decent way to preserve stuff. I definitely like canning bone broth, just putting it on the shelf so it's not taking up space in your fridge or your freezer.
Yeah, but you're not like some weirdo. If I go to your house, you're going to have like a bunch of stuff like canned.
Well, not stuff that I'm going to eat, mostly just baby animals that I find and adult animals on the kill floor.
Okay.
Good. I like to can those.
Can them.
It's just for kind of some spooky decorations.
Yeah. Do you know what my favorite kind of canning is?
What kind?
Firing people around Christmas. You're canned.
Yikes.
That wasn't funny, so I could understand.
Who wants to work with Travis?
Around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Does fear before slaughtering an animal affect the quality of the meat?
What do you think about that?
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
I don't know. One, if animals certainly understand pain and understand fear. But
whose fear is that? Is it your fear or the animal's fear?
I think the animal's fear. I think when you slaughter, you try to create an environment to eliminate that, unless you're a sadist. But I get back to what animals fear. Adrenaline. When adrenaline is released, it will raise the temperature of the animal, and then cause, quote unquote, the meat to be gray. And I think that's what I've also heard is dark cutter, which I don't know.
Yeah, you've seen it.
Yeah, and I've only had adrenaline, like hot spoilage once that I could definitively point to, because the animal was bought at auction, and the customer bought at auction earlier that day, brought it to a USDA facility, and it was like a 600-pound sow, and it was loaded in the back of a pickup truck. And if you guys know how hard it is to get a pig to just walk down or step up on a curb, imagine getting a pig out of the back of a pickup truck. And it was,
good Lord.
And then the journey of the animal getting into that pickup truck, I understand, was a nightmare. But I wasn't there.
Did they have like a ramp for it or something?
They did, but it wouldn't go down. It was a diamond plate ramp, and before, animals slipped down that ramp and pretty much lacerated themselves pretty bad.
Good. That's great.
But that was for custom back then, so USDA.
Of course.
But this is during inspection. And
this was?
Yeah. this one animal by the same company. This company would also show up in a pickup truck full of lambs, just a regular pickup truck, like an old Ford with instead of like a lumber rack, they like caged in a lumber rack, so like their animals were in there.
Wow.
And then there would be, shit and poop and all the fun stuff that comes in the back of a pickup truck with live animals. And then they would also drop off animals and then pick up their weeks before animals and just kind of like, set it right in the back of their pickup truck, their clean boxes and stuff.
Yeah. Yep. I can't tell you how many times I have loaded meat, like cut and wrap meat, into the back of a livestock trailer.
Yeah. But
that had just dropped animals off.
Yeah. It's pretty gross.
It's so gross.
And also, like, if you're working at a plant, a part of me wants to be like, you've met all your CCPs and met all the wholesomeness, and you're releasing it to the person. Depending how your food safety program may specify going into a refrigerated truck, or it may not because it's met all the requirements in your possession.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not be responsible for it at that point. But even if there's gray area, I would still maybe give them a couple pieces of cardboard to separate the animal poop from their boxes.
Yeah.
At the least. But no, so there's no way of getting the sow out of the truck in USDA. And it was like growling and barking, and like one of the, a few times I felt like a pig was going to just ruin my day by biting me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the okay to shoot it in its where it was, and the internal temperature was like over 106 degrees.
That's that's like instant condemnation. That's the magic number.
Yeah.
Did they temp it?
No, I did.
Oh.
Like, I was curious because it was very hot. USDA didn't care. They were there.
Yeah, we actually had to condemn a hog because it was over 106.
Yeah, and that was from stress and transport. I don't know, fear. But the thing got sloppy. Thing didn't set right. I didn't certainly eat any of it, so I couldn't tell you if it affected the taste or not. But that was years ago. Over 2 years ago. So there. What about you, Dave? What do you think?
I mean, I've definitely cut a lot of really crappy, floppy, wet pork.
Mm-hmm.
So the texture's awful.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they say that if they get real scared and they start shivering, then their lactic acid skyrockets, and then pH balance is all messed up. And I don't know, but
I think some could argue that like a more scared animal would probably make better emulsified products since it would be a high pH.
Yeah, sure. No, that's a good way to look at it. You may want to exclusively start using frightened hogs.
Yeah. Well, that right before you say, is this a hot dog one? Blah! And then
Yeah.
All right. Go.
Okay. Travis.
Yes.
Here's a question for you.
Okay.
How do I make the perfect burger?
Oh, wow. Hamburger. I don't know. Do you when you make burgers at home, David, do you use filler?
Filler? No.
Binding agents,
All
nothing.
killer, no filler.
Okay. Well,
No, I think I only put like I'll put like granulated garlic and salt and pepper sometimes.
okay. Well, I do love burger, but just a plain burger with no seasoning. No. I like to, put an egg, some breadcrumbs, some Worcestershire, make it like a size of my fist, then put in between a piece of wax paper, and then press it down flat with a plate, and then cook that up. And I really like to use a skillet versus a grill because I don't want to lose my flavor to the heat. I want to keep it all right there. Also gets more even cook, and it's easier to clean.
Yeah.
Then a burger.
That sounds great.
A burger, I'm also going to always offer bacon, fresh avocado, some sliced tomatoes, and some butter lettuce on a nice, it depends. Like sometimes I love those trashy, just basic bitch white buns. And with like a Thousand Island. And and when I eat a burger, I'm going to eat it. I'm going to want it rare, on the rarer side. I'm going to eat it over my fries. I'm going to have like 3 different kinds of cheeses on there. Usually American cheese because it has such a quick melting point. Like, and I'm talking like process the shit out of this cheese. And all that.
That's a guilty pleasure of mine. I love that shit.
Yeah, like a Velveeta style almost, just looking at it hard is going to make it melt. And then eating that over my fries or tater tots and bacon bits and cheese bits and burger bits and little chunks of avocado
Christ.
And like all my shit like in the Thousand Island will drip all into my fries. I'm also not ashamed that I will eat a burger with a thing of ketchup in my hand and apply ketchup to every bite.
Yeah.
And that's how I eat a perfect burger.
I like that.
Usually I'm in my boxers sitting on my porch and I let and what doesn't make it on my fries will end up on my chest. And then I will go bathe in the Puget Sound.
Burger bath.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
But just like a plain burger of just like meat, just patties. Nope.
No? I like lamb burgers a lot.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I also like to take lamb or grass-fed beef burger and mix it 50-50 with pork sausage.
Okay.
I think that's a really good patty. And I think one of the best burgers I ever had creamy peanut butter and a runny egg on it.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Do you know what's a great combination? It just in general. Like you take shaved steak and heat it up and then just throw a glob of fucking Jif in there with some sriracha.
Oof. And maybe a little soy sauce or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're talking.
Someone at work saw me do that and I felt like I was caught masturbating.
Yeah, you let someone see you do that?
Yeah.
Yikes.
And I was like, don't look at me.
You had to blackmail him after that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, don't you dare look at me. Again, with the peanut butter and sriracha flowing down my face. And then I don't work near the Puget Sound, so I jump in the little concrete ravine that runs parallel, you know. Yeah. Any other good questions?
Let's see. What animal has an extremely high in protein and calcium and is also low in cholesterol, fat, and sodium? Extremely high in protein and calcium and is low in cholesterol, fat, and sodium. So it sounds like something that's not going to be that fun to eat.
Well, I would say, well, I don't know what high in calcium means. Like
veal, maybe?
Veal? I was going to say rabbit.
That's probably the answer.
But veal would be a good one. And then I don't know, like, I feel like I should know the specs on sodium in natural beef or meat, but it's just something I just know off the top of my head because I would have said that wouldn't be a factor. Is there an answer, David?
The answer is rabbit.
Ah! Well, I didn't even cheat. What I do know about rabbits, that if you only eat, say you're marooned on an island. Do you know about this? Have you heard about this?
No.
And there's only rabbits on the island. And you're like, oh, sweet, I'm going to eat all these rabbits. Since they are so lean, you could still die of rabbit starvation.
No.
Because you're only getting protein.
Wow.
That is true, and that's where the term comes from.
Wait, what's the term?
Rabbit starvation.
Oh, I've never heard that. That's a thing?
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up right now.
I'm going to use that this week a lot in the wrong way.
Rabbit starvation. And yeah, it's protein poisoning.
No kidding.
That's what Wikipedia defines it as.
Wow. Huh.
What other questions?
Here, I've got one.
Mm-hmm.
What are the best ways to cook lamb?
Well, I don't have a definitive lamb preferences. If I was given all the choices, I would pass. But you, being an ex-lamb farmer, I think you should answer it.
I think this is subjective because, to be honest with you, like, I'm not a huge fan of the money cuts. I mean, I like them, but it's my attitude with lamb is the same with beef. Like, I like steaks, but I prefer braises or ground things. You know, so my favorite way to cook lamb is, I don't know, like a lamb shoulder, square cut shoulder, thrown into a crock pot with red wine, a little bit of maple syrup, some soy sauce, onions, garlic, carrot, a bunch of rosemary and thyme. Yeah, just cook that till it's falling apart, and then strain the meat from the braising liquid and cook that braising liquid like way down till it's thick and bubbly and coats the back of a spoon, and then toss the braised meat in that. Now you're talking. I like that a lot. Another one that I really like is smoked lamb neck. My friend Jeff and I, he had a bunch of lamb necks one time from his harvest. He raises some really great lamb out in Washington, and he had a bunch of necks, and so we rubbed them up with kind of a smoking kind of Cajun rub that we came up with, and smoked them for a super long time until the meat was just falling off. I mean, we could just pick the neck bone up and the meat just stayed on the plate. You know, it was so tender. And then we made gyros with it. God damn, that was good.
That does sound good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And
lamb sausage I really like too. Lamb sage breakfast sausage is one of my favorites, and it was totally unexpected.
That does sound unexpected.
Yeah.
Now, what about goat? Do you like goat?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
I do. I like goat.
Smell weird.
Yeah, it does kind of. I think goat's best in like a stew or a curry or something. Goat curry is really good.
Bone in.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of bone-in it is. Some of those bone-in curries are like, dude, it's like sucking on a knuckle.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That can be fun sometimes.
Have you ever had bone-in tamales?
No.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what's that?
I didn't know that was a thing until I had it. I just thought the person was really bad at it.
So I had some bone-in tamales recently. This one gal makes them for me, and there's always like fucking chicken knuckles in there and stuff, and I'm crunching my teeth on them, and I always spit them out.
Yeah. Like you did.
Is that part of the thing?
Yeah. When I had it, it was pork.
Really?
You can't really miss that.
It was pork.
Yeah.
Oh, was it rib tips?
I don't know. It was years ago. All right, David.
One time I went to a barbecue place and I got a rib tip sandwich.
And it was all.
And it really, dude, it was cartilage.
Ew.
Oh.
Okay, I just got a message literally right now. We can get out on this because we're at 31 minutes. Hey, Travis and David. They didn't say David, but I'm saying that for you. I'm flying into Seattle for the first time for a few days, and I know you're based out of the Pacific Northwest. I am. I'm in Tulalip, here on the reservation. My spirit animal is awesome, and was wondering if you had any industry must-sees I should check out while I'm up there. Leaving Saturday night. Sure you're busy. Just thought I'd shoot you a line and see if anything came to mind.
Well, now's the time where I put your address out on the show.
I am very busy. One of my employees is out this week, so it's...
oh, man. Is it Jeremy?
No, this guy's actually good. He's responsible for like all of our packaging, like product packaging, and all the smokehouse heat and cools and stuff like that.
Nice.
So it just means now I got to spread that work out over other people and still get the same amount of work done. When people are always out at my work, I always try to make it feel like they're not missed. And when they come back, I could be like, I didn't know you were gone. Even though I really feel it, and it's awful. I don't want them to have the satisfaction of it. But
it seems like there's always somebody gone.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the musts. Now, you actually lived in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I just am Seattle adjacent. So I would have to first say the butcher shops. David, you worked at Rain Shadow.
I did. Yeah, I'd stop in and see, say hello to old Russ and see how he and the crew are doing. It's a nice little shop, and he makes some really cool value-added stuff. He's a super talented cook and butcher, and he's always got something interesting going on. So I'd definitely stop by Rain Shadow Meats in Melrose Market in Capitol Hill.
I would recommend, for a dining experience that's also a butcher experience, check out the English Butcher. Check out Kevin down there at the Butcher's Table. It's a big restaurant, and they have like a couple turnovers a night, but they do a lot of cutting in house.
Really? Yeah, I was wondering what that place was about. I saw a couple of years ago when I was like looking for I think I was like looking at moving, and that was coming up in the job ads. What is that place exactly?
It's like a restaurant bar with like a counter element to it. but it's not.
Oh, okay.
But it's more, lunch and catering to the Amazon crowd because they're close down there, I guess. And then they also do a dinner, and they push like a couple hundred seats a night.
No, is that Kevin's place, or is he the butcher there?
He's the butcher there. He's actually opening up his own brick and mortar.
He is going to end up doing that. Good for him.
Yeah,
he was a real cool guy.
So, and that, I forget the name of that. So let me look it up. Something Cleaver, but it's not around yet. So you don't need to go there. Let me look it up just so I'm not an asshole. Beast and Cleaver, soon to be open. They're in all the processing beginning stages of it. So, yeah.
Do you know where it's going to be located?
No, I did at one point. I may have Seattle. Damn it, David! Now I got to edit this whole part out because I sound dumb. I'm gonna leave it in though. Fuck it.
Yeah, let's see where else in Seattle would you go? I would. There were a lot of great places, and there's not now. You know what I would do if you're going to be there on the weekend? I would go to I would go to the Ballard Farmers Market, and I would try to go to the Capitol Hill one. So in the Capitol Hill one, I think he's probably at this one still. There's a guy named Farmer John who's cool as hell, and his farm is called Nature's Last Stand. And this guy raises hogs and sheep. Last time I checked, it's been a few years. And at his stand, he sells, at the very least, he's going to sell a super good breakfast sandwich to you. I don't know what all he's got now because I think I've seen that he's expanded his offerings, but he's got a really great breakfast sandwich that he makes from his own sausage, and he's a super cool dude. And I would definitely check him out. And then in the Ballard Farmers Market, there's a fella that's got he's making like really rustic charcuterie stuff. Now I saw this last year. And so I'm not sure if he's still there. I assume he will be this year. But if that's up and going, I would go and check him out because he's got all kinds of really cool stuff. Really old-timey, salt box cures and stuff like that. I would definitely check both of those out.
I would check out for another dining experience is the Shambles. That this is where I went. They had the butcher's dinner there, and I think Scott is the head butcher and in charge of their whole charcuterie salumist program over there. And he worked with Brian Mayer.
Who?
Brian Mayer.
Just kidding.
I was going to say, I was like, what? Our good friend who we talked we literally talk to him 20,000 times a day. Yeah. He's actually right here with me right now. No.
Hi, Brian.
He'd say something super cynical. And so it's more charcuterie and it's more of a dining experience, but what they do also have is amazing cocktails and just hands down some of the best service. And actually just like as far as like service industry, I think Seattle has the best wait staff or service industry people I've ever experienced. I think.
Yeah, I have to agree. There's a lot more career servers and people that work in the front of the house in Seattle, like super pros. Portland has a really good front of house scene too, but you're totally right. I never thought of it that way, but it's true.
Yeah, like every place I go to eat in Seattle, like people are. I think it's also just because there's a living wage in Seattle. So people.
Well, it's a living wage, not for Seattle,
yeah,
for the rest of the country.
Yeah. but $15 an hour.
Fuck you, Amazon.
But true. And a lot of places now give health insurance. So you have people who, even though the landscape's changing with the tech company and the industry, you have people who would make more than they would doing that job, who like that job because they're getting compensated appropriately and actually make the experience a great experience. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't boil down to that. Maybe I'm not talking about a universal wage.
Let's see. Another really great place to go in Seattle. If you can make it out, there's a place in Woodinville called the Herb Farm, and their chef there is a pretty talented butcher. I actually, I actually got to watch this guy kill a couple hogs, dress them out really efficiently, and then also run a very high-end restaurant. This guy's super talented, and I think he's got a pretty extensive charcuterie program there.
I would recommend just taking a half a day and just going to Woodinville anyway. And just on a weekday when there's nobody there and just get blitzed. Because Woodinville...
Wine tours.
Yeah, it is the Napa Valley of Washington. Besides the actual, where... what's the lake in the middle of our state?
Chelan?
Yeah, that's actually like the Napa Valley. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of drinking to do out there.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then as far as I'd be remiss, and I'm sure I'd get feedback if I didn't tell you to go see Renee Erickson and Tom and Taylor all at Batou up there in Capitol Hill, along with Renee's many other restaurants and part of the Sea Creatures restaurant groups. Batou was voted number one steakhouse. I'm gonna say America. I could be wrong. It could just be Seattle, but which is a big difference too. But I've eaten there. It's good. It's
very good.
And if you eat there, they do whole animal utilization. So you're going to see cuts and preparations that you normally wouldn't see. This is just turning it into like a come to Seattle meat tour episode. That you normally wouldn't see. But since it is whole animal and the wages and everything, just know that if you have like one meal that you're going to splurge on your trip, it's probably going to be that one.
Yeah. I think the best thing I ever had there was a 2.5-inch thick crosscut beef shank that they just threw on the grill just for a couple of minutes aside. Served it rare.
Are there any places what would you recommend that's something to do that's not meat related? You are
not meat related in Seattle?
Yeah, that's not even food related. Shoot.
Not even you got
to get it Rachel's ginger beer. That's for one thing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. If I was going to pick something that was food related and I wanted to have a good dinner, I'd hop on the ferry and go to Bainbridge Island and walk about 5 minutes to Hitchcock. I think that's one of the best restaurants in the whole area. Never been disappointed there, ever, ever, ever.
I would go to a Taylor's.
A Taylor Shellfish?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good too. Yeah, you have to get some seafood while you're
there. You got
to
go to Ivar's.
Yeah. I'd go to Mike's Chili Parlor.
Okay.
In Ballard and play pinball and get a gallon of chili. I'd go to a place in Fremont called Addaball where you can play lots of different pinball for a quarter.
Okay.
And
I'm picking up on a theme here. Would you go where the cool hang out?
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to do. You know.
No, that's a specific line from a Sure Mix-a-Lot song about Dick's Deluxe.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
No kidding. Sir Mix-a-Lot used to shop at the large retail meat counter that I worked at in Bellevue, Washington. Oh. Came in all the time.
Nice.
Super nice guy, yeah.
Yeah,
super nice guy.
I would certainly go to a Dick's and just get a Dick's Deluxe. Get two of them.
That's right.
Open up the trunk of your car, sit in it, and eat it like everyone else is doing.
What the hell else would you do in Seattle? Most of my time really was just eating and drinking when I was there.
Well, you could go down to Pikes.
No.
You could see someone throw a fish, which means you're going to have to wait for parking. Parking's a fucking nightmare.
A nightmare.
And then see the gum wall while you're down there.
God damn it.
Within walking distance. You could go on the Ferris wheel. This is just cookie cutter tourist stuff. This is like the equivalent of like Pier 49, Santa Monica. This is where you're going to see a fucking Bubba Gump shrimp. If there is.
Yeah. And see a bum shit his pants.
Yeah. Right down there, all within the same area, you could see the Ferris wheel. You could see the Pikes Place and the first Starbucks ever.
Wow. Yep. First one.
But again, parking's terrible. It gives me anxiety thinking about parking in that part of Seattle. What I would really do, that my wife is adamant about not doing, but I know her parents listen to this, so maybe Jerry and Nancy will take me on it, is I want to do the underground tour so fucking bad. But I hear it's not good. But I don't
care. Never are.
But I don't care.
No.
It's like the time when we went to Santa Cruz and I made my family, everyone go to the wax museum, and it was a wax museum.
Yeah. Super weird.
Yeah. But I want to do that. So maybe you could go to, the underground tour and tell me about it.
Yeah, do that. Then get yourself a bunch of firewood and go out to Golden Gardens.
Dude, you could come out. Where do you buy your fireworks in Seattle?
No, not fireworks, firewood, but firework. I don't know. I didn't get fireworks in Seattle. That's a good question.
No.
I bet you've got a line on them now where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that question was sent from Clinton, and he is a butcher from Santa Cruz, California. And Santa Cruz is a city I've been to many times. I love that city. I remember when they had a hardcore scene. I used to go down there and F shit up at their shows.
Yep.
And yes, I do have the fireworks. I have tons because I live on a reservation. And we're real freedom still. Flies on sovereign land. I hear gunshots daily.
Great.
America. All right, David. Do you want to do the outro? Or plug anything before we go?
Plug anything. Let's see. Anything to plug? I'm still hiring.
Okay. And how can people contact you if they're interested in the position?
Well, if you're an experienced meat cutter and are looking for an interesting change in a beautiful unknown and kind of spooky part of the country, the state of Jefferson, the 51st state, you could contact me at a farm butcher on Instagram or at themeatblockpodcast at gmail.com.
All right. And if you want to get a hold of me for anything related to anything, and people always like a lot of messages I get, people are like, you probably won't even read this. Trust me, I do. You could message me at American Butcher on Instagram. And again, you could email us at themeatblockpodcast at gmail.com. And you could tweet at us, even though literally no one does. And yeah. We have a Facebook group that we don't monitor either.
It's really good, though.
It is. Hopefully it hasn't digressed into something, some phobic or something.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, David. I'm throwing it.
Keep your knife sharp.
And live in the margin. Bye.
See ya.